Yeah, when a movie set in Boston is gonna hit theaters, obviously I'm gonna talk about it. So Black Mass tells the story of James Whitey Bulger, who's portrayed by Johnny Depp, and the movie essentially describes him as one of the most notorious gangsters in the history of the world, which sounded like an interesting premise when I heard it, and this actually turned out to be a very interesting movie. So now let's get into it. So the movie is basically told through flashbacks by Whitey Bulger's accomplices during their prison sentences, and they each talk about how Whitey Bulger truly was one of the most ruthless and just hardcore human beings to ever live. It's really amazing in this movie to see the control that he has over his men and also over the control that he has throughout pretty much all of South Boston. I mean, he runs all of his operations under such a tight ship. He knows how to keep himself and his men from getting taken in by the police, and this guy is just executing anyone who crosses him or might cross him. Like, there was this one scene, he's in the bar with a few of his guys, and one of his men actually gets really drunk and actually starts shit talking towards Whitey Bulger. And the next day, when this guy is trying to apologize to Bulger, at first Bulger gives him the whole, yeah, don't worry about it, you know, no hard feelings, I get it, shit happened. And then when this guy least expected it, boom, headshot, he's dead. Because now that Whitey Bulger saw this guy as a weak link, he knows he can't really have him around or knowing anything of his operations anymore. So just like that, the movie establishes that 1, Whitey Bulger is someone who needs to get taken down immediately, and 2, just how much power he holds, which makes taking him down such a struggle, which I thought was great, so I really liked the direction this movie was going in. However, Joel Edgerton, who plays an FBI agent who actually grew up as a childhood friend to Whitey Bulger, he feels the FBI can use him as an informant to help take out the Italian mafia who runs the north end of Boston. So Joel Edgerton eventually gets in touch with Whitey Bulger's brother, who's played by Benedict Cumberbatch. He's a Boston senator who explains that this isn't something that he should really approach Whitey Bulger for, because Whitey Bulger absolutely despises anything that has to do with ratting. And at first, when Joel Edgerton approaches Bulger about the idea, he of course immediately rejects it. However, he eventually agrees to it because after thinking about it, he realizes that if the Italian mafia from the north end is taken in, then that basically means that all of Boston would be his to rule in crime. And he also feels through this that he can ensure the protection of his wife and his 6-year-old son. And this was probably the only element of Whitey Bulger that I liked seeing, because we see in this instant that despite all of the awful, horrendous crimes that he's constantly committing, we see that he is in fact a really good husband and a really good father at the same time. It showed that there is in fact some bit of good somewhere inside him. One scene in particular that I liked is when his son was telling him how he punched a kid in the face at one point for picking on him. Whitey Bulger looks at him and he's like, you got in trouble because you got caught. So if you don't get caught, you didn't do anything wrong. And the award for Dad of the Year goes to... But tragically, later on in the movie, his son is diagnosed with Ray's syndrome. This unfortunately places his son into a vegetative state with no sign of recovering, which causes Bulger and his wife to break up because she decides to pull the plug on their son so he doesn't have to live like that anymore. So again, I was impressed that this movie actually made me feel sympathy for a mass-murdering psychopathic gangster. How often does a movie hit you in the feels that way? So eventually, through Whitey Bulger's help, Joel Edgerton and the rest of the FBI are able to bring down the Italian mafia. But now, just as he planned, Whitey Bulger is now, well, literally able to get away with murder and do whatever he wants. Especially now that he's rekindled his friendship with Joel Edgerton, he has Joel Edgerton now sweeping all of the crimes he commits just right under the table. This becomes further apparent when one of Bulger's associates tries to report one of Bulger's murders to Joel Edgerton. Joel Edgerton refuses to believe him, and he even goes so far to telling Bulger that this guy came to him and told him everything he did, which leads to Bulger executing this guy for ratting on him. And again, this just truly amazed me at the power that Whitey Bulger truly had. He was able to befriend an FBI agent to the point where he had this guy just completely wrapped around his finger, and also having this FBI agent providing him information to assist him in his crimes. So essentially this movie went from having Whitey Bulger as the rat to essentially turning Joel Edgerton, the FBI agent, into the rat, which I thought was really smart for this movie. However, he's not able to corrupt everyone in the FBI, and it gets to the point where Joel Edgerton's partner is starting to feel they just need to bring Whitey Bulger in now. Bulger can sense this, and one night when they're all having dinner together, Bulger is able to get Edgerton's partner to eventually spill the secret family recipe for the steak that they're having, which Bulger now plays off of, saying like, you just gave up that information like that, so how do I know you're not gonna go and rat on me? However, Bulger pulls the whole, nah man, relax, I'm just fucking with you, it was a joke. But we all know that behind every joke is an underlying truth, and eventually after more and more people are just getting murdered left and right by Bulger, and with Joel Edgerton continuing to withhold information from the FBI and just giving more information to Bulger, Joel Edgerton's partner finally confesses to the rest of the FBI of the true relationship between Joel Edgerton and Whitey Bulger, along with the information that Edgerton has been giving Bulger as to why he can commit the crimes that he is. This leads to Whitey Bulger officially leaving Boston on the run while the rest of his gang members and Joel Edgerton are all arrested. And the final scene shows that after being on the run for 16 years, Whitey Bulger is eventually taken in by the FBI. So all in all, I thought Black Mass was a pretty solid movie. Johnny Depp just kills it as James Whitey Bulger. I truly believe he could get an Oscar nomination for his performance. It's definitely one of his best roles in a long time. Everyone else I thought did a good job. The story itself is very interesting. However, I will say this movie definitely dragged on at times and felt a lot longer than it actually was. But other than that, I thought the movie was done very well and was definitely worth seeing. So that's all I gotta say, guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. Don't forget to leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.